The twin flame journey is one of the most transformative experiences a soul can undertake. It is not simply about romance or finding the perfect partner. It is a deep spiritual awakening that brings every wound, fear, and unresolved trauma to the surface. It forces both the divine masculine and divine feminine to heal the deepest parts of themselves in order to reunite in harmony. But while both energies have their own unique challenges, the divine feminine often carries a profound and painful wound that affects every part of the twin flame dynamic. This wound is the wound of unworthiness, a deeply ingrained belief that she is not enough, not lovable, not deserving, and not worthy of true unconditional love. This is the single most impactful wound that delays union and creates turmoil on the journey. This wound does not just affect the twin flame connection, it seeps into every relationship, every interaction, and every decision the divine feminine makes. It manifests as insecurity, self-doubt, chasing, overgiving, people-pleasing, fear of abandonment, and an inability to receive love freely. It keeps her trapped in cycles of pain and separation, unable to truly embrace her own power and divinity. Healing this wound is not only essential for twin flame union, but also for the divine feminine's personal evolution. She must reclaim her worth, step into her power, and understand that she is already whole, already enough, and already deeply loved by the universe. Only then can she truly align with her twin flame and experience the divine love she seeks. In today's video, we'll reveal the different layers of this wound, how it manifests, and the steps necessary to heal and reclaim the divine feminine's true essence. Let's start. The unworthiness wound does not originate in this lifetime alone. It is a deeply ingrained pattern passed down through ancestral lines, past lives, and societal conditioning. For centuries, the divine feminine has been suppressed, devalued, and taught that her worth is dependent on others, on her beauty, her ability to nurture, or her ability to sacrifice for love. This programming starts early in life. Many divine feminines grow up in environments where love is conditional, where they are taught they must behave a certain way to be accepted. They internalize messages that tell them they are not enough as they are. These experiences create subconscious beliefs that affect their relationships, especially with their twin flame. When the divine feminine meets her twin flame, all these wounds rise to the surface. She suddenly feels desperate for love, afraid of rejection, and unworthy of her twin flame's affection. This leads to chasing, overgiving, and trying to prove her worth, pushing the divine masculine further away. The first step in healing this wound is recognizing its origin. It is not her fault. It is not something she lacks. It is a distortion that has been placed upon her, and it can be undone. She must begin the process of deprogramming these beliefs, allowing herself to see that she was never meant to prove her worth. She was born worthy. One of the biggest signs of the unworthiness wound is the pattern of chasing and overgiving. Many divine feminines fall into the cycle of giving more than they receive, hoping that if they love hard enough, they will be chosen. This comes from a deep-seated fear that they are not enough, and that if they don't fight for love, it will be taken away. But this approach backfires. Instead of bringing the twin flame closer, it causes them to withdraw. This happens because chasing energy is rooted in lack of self-worth, lack of trust, and lack of inner fulfillment. It sends the message that love must be earned, rather than something that flows naturally. Healing this requires a shift from external validation to internal wholeness. The divine feminine must learn to stop chasing and instead receive. She must trust that love is already hers and that she does not need to prove her worth to be chosen. This means setting boundaries, valuing herself, and allowing love to come to her instead of forcing it. Another major manifestation of the unworthiness wound is the fear of abandonment. This fear causes deep anxiety, over-attachment, and a constant worry that the twin flame will leave. It is this fear that often triggers the push and pull dynamic, creating painful cycles of separation. At its core, the fear of abandonment is a misunderstanding of the twin flame journey. The divine feminine believes she can be left behind, but in reality, twin flames are never truly separate. Their bond is eternal, and the so-called separation phase is actually a time of healing and growth. The key to overcoming this fear is learning to trust the journey. The divine feminine must release the idea that love can be lost. She must see separation as an opportunity rather than a punishment. When she fully understands that nothing can take away what is divinely meant for her, she will no longer fear abandonment. Instead, she will embrace the process with trust and patience. One of the deepest struggles for the divine feminine is allowing herself to receive love without conditions. Many have been taught, whether through childhood experiences, past relationships, or societal conditioning, that love must be earned. They feel the need to constantly prove their worth, often by giving too much, accommodating others, or prioritizing someone else's needs over their own. Because of this, when love is freely offered, it may feel uncomfortable or even undeserved. This pattern creates an imbalance in relationships, especially in the twin flame connection. The divine feminine may find herself in a cycle of overgiving, always being the one to initiate, support, or sacrifice. Over time, this can lead to exhaustion, resentment, and emotional depletion. Instead of love feeling like a natural exchange, it becomes something she works tirelessly for, which only reinforces the belief that she is not naturally worthy of it. Another way this wound manifests is in the inability to express needs. Many divine feminines struggle to ask for help, express desires, or set boundaries because they fear rejection or burdening others. Instead of receiving love, they shrink themselves, believing they must be self-sufficient at all times. This creates emotional distance in the twin flame connection, as love requires openness and vulnerability, not just giving, but also allowing. To heal, the divine feminine must practice receiving in small ways. This can be as simple as accepting a compliment without deflecting, allowing someone to help her without guilt, or acknowledging her own needs without feeling selfish. Receiving is not a sign of weakness. It is a necessary part of balance. Love is meant to flow both ways, and learning to accept it fully is one of the greatest acts of self-worth. The divine feminine must also let go of the idea that love is something she must struggle for. True love does not come from proving, chasing, or sacrificing. It exists naturally and abundantly. By softening her heart and trusting that she is inherently worthy, she opens the door for love to come to her effortlessly. When she no longer blocks love with fear or self-doubt, she experiences deeper, more fulfilling connections, not just with her twin flame, but with everyone around her. The divine feminine's greatest transformation happens when she moves from self-doubt into self-sovereignty. Self-doubt keeps her small, always questioning whether she is enough. It makes her seek approval, hesitate to follow her intuition, and look to others, especially her twin flame, for validation. This creates an energy of neediness where her happiness feels dependent on external circumstances. Self-sovereignty, on the other hand, is the complete opposite. It is the understanding that she is already whole, already complete, and already powerful in her own right. It means she no longer waits for someone else to confirm her worth. She knows it. She trusts herself, stands firm in her beliefs, and does not let fear dictate her actions. When the divine feminine steps into this energy, her entire reality shifts. She no longer operates from lack or desperation. She no longer tries to control the twin flame journey out of fear. Instead, she surrenders, trusting that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. She understands that separation is not a punishment, but an opportunity for growth. She focuses on her own expansion rather than waiting for someone else to complete her. This shift is not about becoming detached or closing her heart. It is about recognizing that she is the love she has been seeking. She stops chasing love because she realizes that love is already within her. She stops overgiving because she understands that her energy is sacred. She no longer fears losing her twin flame because she knows that what is meant for her can never truly be lost. To step into self-sovereignty, the divine feminine must trust her inner wisdom. She must prioritize her own healing, passions, and joy. She must see herself as the powerful being she truly is, not someone waiting to be saved. The more she embodies this energy, the more naturally she attracts love, not just from her twin flame, but from the universe itself. True union happens when both souls are whole within themselves, and the divine feminine stepping into her sovereignty is the key to making this alignment possible. Reclaiming divine feminine power is the final step in healing the wound of unworthiness. It is the moment when the divine feminine remembers who she is, beyond the fears, beyond the doubts, beyond the stories that told her she wasn't enough. It is the realization that she is not just a seeker of love, she is love itself. This power does not come from control, force, or proving anything to anyone. It comes from deep inner knowing, from standing firm in her truth, and from trusting herself completely. When she is connected to this power, she does not need to beg for attention or chase after love. She does not settle for less than she deserves. She does not shrink herself to make others comfortable. Instead, she radiates confidence, grace, and self-respect. One of the most important aspects of reclaiming divine feminine power is learning to trust intuition. The divine feminine has a natural ability to sense things deeply, but years of doubt and conditioning may have led her to ignore or second-guess her inner voice. By reconnecting with her intuition, she strengthens her ability to navigate the twin flame journey with clarity and wisdom. She stops reacting from fear and starts responding from a place of inner knowing. Embracing self-love is another key part of stepping into divine power. The more the divine feminine nurtures herself, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, the more she strengthens her connection to her own essence. She no longer looks outside for validation because she knows her worth is not determined by anyone else. She begins to move through life with a quiet, unshakable confidence, knowing that she is divine, radiant, and whole. As she embodies this energy, the twin flame connection naturally shifts. When she no longer operates from lack or fear, the divine masculine feels the change. He senses her strength, her balance, and her self-respect, which encourages his own healing and alignment. The more she stands in her power, the more effortlessly she attracts the love and union she desires, not because she needs it, but because she has become the embodiment of love itself. Reclaiming divine feminine power is not about becoming someone new. It is about returning to who she has always been, a being of love, wisdom, and light. The more she honors this truth, the more her reality transforms, allowing her to step into the life and love she was always meant to experience. The journey of the divine feminine is not about fixing herself to be loved. It is about remembering that she has always been love itself. The wound of unworthiness may have clouded this truth, making her believe that love had to be earned, proven, or fought for. But the reality is, love was never outside of her. It has always existed within, waiting for her to embrace it fully. Healing does not mean becoming someone different. It means stripping away the layers of fear, doubt, and conditioning that have hidden her true essence. The more she lets go of the belief that she is lacking, the more she steps into the fullness of who she is. She is not just worthy of love, she is love. And when she realizes this, everything in her life begins to shift. Her twin flame journey transforms, not because she has chased, begged, or sacrificed, but because she has aligned with the energy of love itself. True union does not happen through force. It happens when both souls are ready, when the divine feminine and divine masculine have found balance within themselves. And the more she embodies her authentic self, the more effortlessly this alignment occurs. Letting go of unworthiness does not mean becoming perfect. It means allowing herself to be exactly who she is, flawed, growing, evolving, yet still whole and complete. It means knowing that love is not something she must grasp tightly out of fear of losing it. Instead, it is something that flows to her freely when she stands in her power. No matter where she is on her journey, she can choose, in this very moment, to embrace herself fully. She can choose to release the belief that she is unworthy. She can choose to trust that she is enough. Because when she does, she steps into the love she has been searching for all along, the love that has always been within her. And in that space of self-acceptance, true divine union becomes not just possible, but inevitable.